In a time when oceans were walls, one man dared to cross them. A samurai, dressed in armor, carrying not just a sword, but the dreams of a distant empire. This is not fiction. This is the true story of the first Japanese embassy to Europe and the Americas. A tale of adventure, diplomacy, tragedy, and one man who walked through worlds that had never met before. His name was Hasekura Tsunenaga, and he may have been the first samurai to set foot in the Western world. Let me take you back to 1613. At the dawn of the 17th century, Japan was at a crossroads. The civil wars had ended. Tokugawa Ieyasu had unified the country under the shogunate, but in the north, a powerful daimyo, Date Masamune, lord of Sendai, had a bold idea. He wanted to open Japan to global trade, not just with China or Korea, but with the Spanish Empire. He dreamed of merchant ships crossing the Pacific, of alliances with powerful Christian nations. And so he sent a message across the sea, a political, religious, and economic mission. And at the head of it he placed a trusted samurai, Hasekura Tsunenaga. The mission was enormous. A Spanish-built ship called the San Juan Bautista was constructed in Japan, a European-style galleon, 500 tons strong. On board were around 180 people, samurai, merchants, interpreters, even Spanish friars. Their first destination? New Spain, modern-day Mexico. They set sail across the Pacific in October 1613. For most Japanese at the time, the sea was a border. For Hasekura, it was a gateway. They reached Acapulco in 1614 and immediately caused a stir. Imagine it. The people of New Spain had never seen samurai armor before. Japanese banners fluttering in the wind, silken robes, katana blades. It was a scene out of a dream or a legend. From there, Hasekura traveled overland to Mexico City and eventually boarded a ship bound for Spain. Yes, a Japanese samurai crossing the Atlantic. 160 years before Japan would open again to the West. Decades before the United States even existed. In October 1615, he arrived in Seville and eventually made his way to Madrid. There, Hasekura was received by none other than King Philip III of Spain. He presented his credentials. He spoke through interpreters. He knelt before the Spanish king and offered an alliance, trade, culture, and most importantly, faith. Hasekura converted to Christianity during this journey. He was baptized in Madrid as Francisco Felipe Hasekura. It was a moment that symbolized everything this embassy stood for, a bridge between worlds. And then they went further, to Rome. There, Hasekura met with Pope Paul V himself. He was the first official Japanese envoy to ever address the Vatican. He requested more missionaries for Japan, and the Pope welcomed him warmly. Hasekura's mission, the Keichō Embassy, seemed like a stunning success. But back in Japan, things were changing. While Hasekura walked the palaces of Europe, a darker wind had begun to blow through his homeland. The Tokugawa shogunate, wary of foreign influence and Christian missionaries, began to crack down on Christianity. It was no longer seen as a tool of diplomacy, but a threat to order. Missionaries were expelled. Converts were persecuted. Christianity became punishable by death. When Hasekura finally returned to Japan in 1620, he returned to a country that no longer wanted the future he had helped build. His efforts, the years of diplomacy, the conversions, the negotiations, meant nothing. His Christian faith marked him as suspicious. His embassy was forgotten. Trade with the West collapsed, and Japan entered over 2 centuries of self-imposed isolation, sakoku. Hasekura Tsunenaga disappeared into obscurity. No monument, no heroes welcome. Just a man out of time, a bridge to a world that would soon be closed. History often forgets its pioneers, but Hasekura Tsunenaga's journey across oceans, kingdoms, and faiths was one of the boldest ever attempted by a man of his time. He was a samurai, a diplomat, and a symbol of what could have been. A world not divided but connected. Today, statues of him stand in Cuba, Italy, Spain, and Mexico, but in Japan, only whispers remain. Let's not forget him again. If you enjoyed this story, consider subscribing for more hidden histories from across the world. Who should we cover next?